Mixed martial arts fans will never forget how Justin Gaethje upset the odds at UFC 249 and took apart a bleeding and bruised Tony Ferguson to win the interim lightweight title. Interestingly, Gaethje's moniker, The Highlight, comes from the fact that he is the only fighter in UFC history to win a fight night bonus in each of his 7 appearances. So how did these incredible performances earn Gaethje the title of the deadliest fighter in mixed martial arts? From having an unbreakable spirit to swinging deadly kicks, here's why Justin Gaethje is regarded as the deadliest fighter in the UFC. Let's start with his powerful striking ability.
Oh, big left from Gaethje. And a return on the counter right by Oliveira.
As a fighter, Gaethje has always shown more forethought and planning than is commonly attributed to him. The modern Gaethje does a lot more work on the back foot than the brawler he once was. This lets his opponents walk into hard punches rather than forcing the action himself.
Make it wild. Pick your shots. When you're in that tie-up, look for that uppercut. It's there. You have the power to hurt them.
His recent victories can be attributed in large part to his increased consistency when it comes to swinging from the appropriate distances. Gaethje used to take chances by stepping in and winging an overhand, hoping his opponent would step into it. But if he missed, his opponent would counter, which is exhausting in and of itself. However, Gaethje is much more selective with his striking these days. He is still targeting the leg from a distance, but he is in less of a hurry to close the gap. When Gaethje does try for a huge hook, he usually goes for the body first and then swings high. Sometimes he will press forward into the clinch before unleashing his full power, and he will use feints to cover his forward momentum. Gaethje's punches are currently dealing out a lot of damage on the counter thanks to his deft use of distance. He's got an excellent rear foot strike, and he manages to put his weight behind each punch.
Right, but here's the question. Tony can keep this up for 5 rounds at this exact pace.
Gaethje will frequently throw a right hand, roll the counter, and then immediately follow up with a left hook to bait his opponent. Against Michael Chandler, Gaethje did most of his damage while countering.
Stop it. Oh, there's another one. That's huge. Oh, nice left hook.
Justin.
He began by repeatedly pressing Chandler's shin into his lead leg in an effort to encourage him to advance. Gaethje would then try to slide out of Chandler's right hand's range or dip under it in order to return fire when Chandler would advance. Gaethje's very quick right uppercut was also an effective tool in his arsenal. When punching, whether with his dominant right hand or his preferred jabbing motion, Chandler has a habit of bringing his head forward. Gaethje noticed this and showed his lead hand as Chandler advanced behind feints or punches. This got Chandler to cover up, but Gaethje clubbed him with a vicious uppercut through the guard, and when Chandler tried to avoid the hard right punches, he was frequently met with an accompanying left hook. That's how good Gaethje's striking has become, and most fighters would rather not engage him in a slugfest. Unfortunately, his opponents are usually sitting ducks when he applies pressure to the situation. His aggressive fighting style is another worry for anyone who steps into the octagon with him. Gaethje has a habit of letting many shots through, but he hits back so hard that his opponents usually regret taking the bait. He uses what is described as a catch and pitch method of boxing, which takes advantage of the fact that many boxers put themselves out of position when attacking. To counter Gaethje's relentless pressure and pace, a common first response from his opponents is to jab, which makes a lot of sense on paper since a solid jab drives away pursuers and keeps the fighter safe from looping hooks. Yet Gaethje is well prepared for this move, and as soon as his opponent's lead leg is stretched from the jab, he will unleash a crushing leg kick, which, by the way, is also one of his major strengths in the octagon. Another counter-attacking option for Gaethje is to sneak his head inside and throw an overhand, hoping to kill his opponent off with a lightning-fast cross-counter. Gaethje has also been more proactive in offense, as he showed against Tony Ferguson with his adept use of the jab. Nowadays, he'll come in and throw some serious power punches, typically an overhand right or left hook. He would frequently rip to the body to set up those shots, which adds to his technique of taking down adversaries. This also speaks volumes of how well he has improved in terms of movement and positioning. He is dangerous in practically any position, be it striking or in guard. His propensity of moving to southpaw after using his right hand is an underrated part of his arsenal. By shifting his weight and stepping into southpaw, Gaethje loads his his left hand and delivers a devastating cross or overhand that most opponents never see coming. Gaethje has also doubled up on his right hand. If you recall, he knocked out the Brazilian Edson Barboza with a super fast southpaw right hook. Speaking of Barboza, he is one of the several fighters that Gaethje has beaten in quick time. Gaethje planned his first nicely and caught Barboza with a right cross that killed off the fight as early as 2 minutes 30 seconds in the first round. And if you thought that was quick, then you must have forgotten that Gaethje had previously beaten James Vick in far less time, 87 seconds in the first round to be precise. With Gaethje scoring back-to-back first-round knockouts against James Vick and Edson Barboza in a space of months, his reputation as a deadly hitter and finisher grew even more. For those who don't know, Gaethje has a formidable MMA record. He has a total of 27 professional fights and has won as many as 23 of them. But that's not where it stops. He's won 19 of those 23 fights by brutally knocking out his opponents. Gaethje has just one win by submission and 3 by unanimous decision. So it's crystal clear that Gaethje, who actually has a good wrestling background, prefers to knock the grill out of his opponent's mouth rather than forcing a tap. But Gaethje doesn't just thrive by throwing punches to the head. His kicks, as I have hinted at earlier, are just as devastating. Gaethje's performance against Ferguson is regarded as his greatest ever, and his kicks played a huge role in his victory. Ferguson is rangy and crafty, but Gaethje neutralized those assets with hard low kicks. Gaethje's vicious kicks slowed Ferguson down, and it was only a matter of time before the end was near. Ferguson attempted to force the issue rather than simply flow into the pocket. And to counter Ferguson's punches, Gaethje would slip inside and either counter with an overhand corkscrew or a hard left hook. Again and again, Gaethje's counters connected, further debilitating Ferguson. Gaethje's head mobility also improved during the fight. He consistently thwarted Ferguson's attempts to create combinations with his excellent ability to slip shots while remaining compact to shoot low kicks and punches. But as good as Gaethje is, you might find some flaws in his kind of offensive strategy. Gaethje exposes his midsection every now and then, and we all know how much body shots hurt, but thanks to his physical toughness, he is able to absorb these shots and quickly launch an offensive of his own. Even UFC President Dana White had this to say of Gaethje: he's got a great chin, unbelievable knockout power in both hands, vicious leg kicks, and great takedown defense. It doesn't get any more dangerous than that. Justin Gaethje will square off against Rafael Fiziev in UFC 286 on Saturday, the 18th of March, 2023. And he'll have another chance to prove why he is the deadliest fighter of them all.